As a practicing aesthetic plastic surgeon, I recognized many years ago that the biggest demand focused on stopping unwanted muscular activity, reducing unwanted fat, and finally filling where fat has become deficient in the skin. We developed Frown Serum first, and then the formulations targeting unwanted fat around the body. At that time, we did not have the molecules to deal with plumping out of adipose tissue, but after intensive research, we found what we needed. We know that normal skin tends to lose the fat layer under the dermis as we age. Concurrently, the skin also starts to produce less and less natural hyaluronic acid until we reach a stage of dermatoporosis, which is a weakness of the skin structure. This is when the skin is loose and underfilled. The skin's natural cushioning is lost and it is prone to bruising. A dual approach was required to unlock the solution. Volume loss is a visible sign of aging, and it shows up to varying degrees in all skin. Ideally, I look around the eyes to see if the skin has become too thin. I look for fine lines that have developed and remain visible when one stops smiling. I also feel the thickness of the skin on the cheeks. Youthful skin feels thicker. If you can gently lift the skin away from the deep layers, it indicates the loss of structural integrity, and this is more challenging to improve. One mustn't forget the neck, which usually shows damage earlier, and we develop sagginess, and horizontal crease lines are exaggerated. The earlier one starts, the better. I wish I could have used these formulations when I first started Environ. Traditional dermal fillers are made with varying types of hyaluronic acid, which do not act as natural hyaluronic acid. Natural hyaluronic acid in the skin has a high turnover, and we lose about a third of our natural stores every single day. Hyaluronic acid fillers last much longer than that. Dermal fat fillers are also used to replace lost volume, but that requires surgical intervention. Obviously, a cosmetic cannot become a structure in the skin as a filler does, but this formulation isn't designed to replace fillers. Instead, it offers both hydro and lipidic benefits. The first important point is to state that topical hyaluronic acid only gets through into the skin when it has been chopped up into shorter fragments. When these segments enter the skin, they never behave as hyaluronic acid. This statement includes HyarCare 50, which contains hyaluronic acid that has been broken down into 50 kilodaltons in size, and that can penetrate the skin. The only function of these fragments, as shown in laboratory research, is that at 50 kilodaltons, they can stimulate the CD44 system that initiates the production of natural hyaluronic acid, which is totally different. It is a very long chain and can absorb vast amounts of water and plump out the skin. Smaller size fragments do not do this, and besides being useless, they can actually irritate the skin. The second molecule is OptumHyal, which does much of the same thing, but this is a ferment of a mucopolysaccharide. And this gets into the skin and then can stimulate the CD44 system on keratinocytes as well as on the fibroblasts to produce even more natural hyaluronic acid. You have to understand that we need to produce hyaluronic acid as much as possible because we lose about 30 to 50% every day. I should take this opportunity to remind you that Environ has always used the most powerful stimulant of the CD44 system, vitamin A. So that is why Optima Hyal and Higher Care 50 need the vitamin A to ensure that they can make the daily enormous requirements of hyaluronic acid. So now we deal with the molecule that I had to wait so long for. It was carefully selected from about 45 million hexapeptides. Because research work showed that it could fill fat cells with more fat and proliferate new fat cells, so that within 14 days one could get up to 12% increase in visible volume. That plus hyaluronic acid gave us great potential for treating volume loss. That these new products are not alternatives to dermal fillers. They do totally different things, but they can work in synergy. I do not believe prolonged use of Environ is going to rule out the need for dermal fillers. But when one does not do dermal fillers, we can also help to make beautifully smooth, radiant, plump, curvaceous skin that disguises the loss of fat and hyaluronic acid that always comes with age. If I was stranded on a deserted island, then I would want my sequence, my advanced moisturizer, and my dual boost cream with me, and to provide powerful antioxidant protection. In general, fillers are designed to fill defects, and Environ's formulation is not designed for that. The closest analogy is the nappage technique, where hundreds of even pricks into the skin deliver very tiny quantities of filler into the dermis to give a field effect. This is what Environ is after. We want the whole area to look very subtly volumized, so that fine lines look smoother and dense appear naturally fuller. Environ is endeavoring to improve the appearance of rejuvenation, which is why we need all these special ingredients. Plumpness of the skin, curvaceous shapes, tightness and smoothness of the skin, and a younger appearance of skin color.